Balls.
Welcome to the Boss Up. I am your host, Jarvis Sam. If you're getting this podcast, that means you are subscribed to my Patreon, and I appreciate you. Just spread the word. This week, I am talking about production, productivity, whatever you want to call it. So, a friend of mine texted me the other day, and we were kind of just bouncing ideas back and forth just around the time that we wake up and everything. And I shared some information with him, and I just got inspired to share with you guys. So, I read a book called Rise and Grind by Daymond John, and it was basically chronicling these different highly successful people and what time they wake up and how they use their time, essentially. He spoke on people from Joel Osteen to Tyler, the Creator. And it was really good information. And it really makes you put things into perspective, like how successful people move and how successful people get a lot done. And a lot of it is they add time to their day that others don't, right? So, the average person that in that book woke up around 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning every single day. And to them, it was like, hey, I've got to get a 2-3 hour head start on everybody else. And it's so true. Even if you're using those 3 hours or 2 hours, to just do like your morning routine and you're already out the door, out making moves, it made you much more productive, right? So we were talking about those things, and one of the things he shared was that he typically wakes up, later in the day, and whatnot. But he also shared that, hey, I do stay up, later in the day as well. He asked me what time I woke up, and I say between 6:30 and 7. Honestly, I feel like I could wake up a little earlier and get more done. But right now that has been feasible just because of my current circumstance. I have a 1-year-old, so, sleep is valuable. If he affords me the opportunity to sleep until 7 a.m., it is a win. So, but I did, when I look at my routine and I look at when I'm most productive when I do wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, get a workout in, get breakfast in me, and then head out the door, right? For the day. I'm filled with energy. I've gotten the nutrients now. My metabolism's already going. I'm already full of energy. Like, I don't even need coffee on those days. But the days that I sleep in or are kind of just moving, fast, just getting out of bed and trying to, get into the daily grind of the day, I tend to struggle a little more, right? First thing I need to go stop at Starbucks and get me an iced coffee because I still feel sleepy. I still feel tired because I didn't get that workout in to get that natural energy going. But I don't think the time that you wake up is necessarily the most important factor. I think the routine that you build is the most important factor. Routines are going to take you places that time just really can't, right? If you have an effective routine, you are going to be able to accomplish everything you have set out to do if you're able to create a routine and stick to it. So the big thing is having the stick-to-itiveness to actually stick to whatever it is you're trying to do, right? Also, you got to set the right goals, right? You got to have your goals in place. if your goals are very, and I think your goals should start off basic, but your goals shouldn't stay basic, right? So maybe your goal is just to wake up a little earlier each day of the week. That's a small goal. That shouldn't be your goal for 3 months, right? That should be your goal to kind of get in that routine. And then from there, you got to level up those goals a little more, right? But one thing about routines, and I want y'all to hear this. Routines protect productivity. Routines protect productivity. What do I mean by that? If you have the right routine in place, it's going to keep you on track and it's going to help you accomplish everything you need to do throughout the day. The other thing about routines, if you have a solid routine, when things don't, because every day is different. Hey, I have a 1-year-old. So I can have the best routine and the best strategy and the best plan for the day, and he could throw a curveball my way any minute. But if I have an effective routine and I stick to it enough, that will be an anomaly, and it won't be the straw that broke the camel's back for my routines and for my productivity. It'll just be a minor setback in the moment. But once I get back on that routine, it's going to be like clockwork. But if you don't have a routine, it's going to be the exact opposite. If you're just, going whichever way the wind blows, that's exactly what's going to happen. The wind is going to blow in this direction. You're going to have to go over here. The wind is going to blow in another direction. You're going to have to go over here. The wind is going to do something else and it's going to push you forward, and you're going to be pushed forward, and you'll be going against the wind. But if you have an effective routine and you stick to it, you're going to be able to push through 100%. Again, there are going to be days that you just can't do what you need to do for whatever reason. But again, you hop back on that routine and you get right back in the ball game. When you don't have effective routines, you will always struggle. You will always, like I just said, you'll always be going against the wind. You'll always be giving in to whatever chaos the day will bring because you did not stick to a routine, right? And make sure your routine lines up with where you want to go, right? Make sure your routine lines up with where you want to go. If you're not 100% sure what your routine needs to be, you need to just get a blank sheet of paper and write down everything that you want to get accomplished each and every day, each and every week. There's daily routines, there's weekly routines, there's monthly routines, there's things that maybe you do just quarterly or whatever. There are different levels of routines, and depending upon what kind of goals you have and what things you're trying to accomplish will be determine kind of the frequency of which each routine needs to be done. I do a podcast. I have to have a routine to make sure that I create content each and every week to deliver consistently on my commitment to my listeners, right? If I'm committing that I'm going to release an episode roughly every single week, I need to have time I don't need time every single day to come up with podcast topics and speaking points and whatnot. But I do need time occasionally, at least once a week, to really sit down to lay out the show. And I also need time to record. Record. I have to have time carved in just to record, just to make sure that, and that time has to be protected, right? Because there's time that, there's troubleshooting. There's different things that go on that I also have to factor in, right? I need to factor in, what if my audio is not working right away? What if I run out of storage here? What if something happens? There's so much that goes into it that you have to be thorough when you are coming up with your plan and your routines, because I can't say, hey, my episode is going to be 30 minutes. I can't just allocate 30 minutes and be done with it. I need to give myself a little wiggle room. I need at least 45 minutes to an hour to troubleshoot, to figure things out, to make sure that I can deliver a quality episode each and every time. But yeah, again, routines will take you places that your that nothing else can do for you, right? Now, again, we were talking about waking up early. I don't think waking up early is the end all be all, but I do think it's a great place. If you have effective enough routines and you can, wake up at 8 o'clock and accomplish all that you need to accomplish between that time and the time you lay your head down, more power to you. But the average person will need a little more time to accomplish things that are trying to do big things. Now, if you have low, priorities, you're not trying to do much in life, it's going to be different. You can wake up at 11 o'clock and just run with the wind. But those of us that are trying to build generational wealth, that are trying to run businesses, that are trying to keep our bodies in shape so that we're alive for our families and whatnot, it requires a little more time, right? It requires a little more time than the average person, right? So we have to kind of protect that time. But I remember I worked at a grocery retailer for many, many years. I'd gotten promoted, and when you get promoted into the position I was going in, you have to go through a leadership program that lasted about 6 months roughly, and they paired you with someone, and so you had a partner. That partner was also in the same program with you, but you kind of helped each other kind of get through it, and you work at the same store and whatnot. So they paired me with someone who was coming from the same position that I was coming from, but I believe we had we were at different levels. So let me just say this: just because you share the same position or are at the same level as somebody, from a company standpoint, from a hierarchy standpoint, does not mean you're doing the same job. It means that you have the same title. And I was leading at a much higher level at the previous job, our previous job before promotion. Even though we had the same title, I was leading at a different level. I was already doing a lot of the work of the next position at that job. So it was easier for me to enter the program. I had more knowledge going in. So it was much easier for me to kind of get in the program and bang through it because I'd already been doing a lot of these things. And she hadn't been exposed to all the things I had been exposed to. And so we were, again, going in like it was different levels. Like we may have had the same title, but we weren't doing the same work. And so coming in, like I knew she was a little behind the 8 ball than I was. But at the same time, like in order to be promoted, like she had to exhibit some competency of being able to lead at the proper level. So we get in, and we typically were scheduled like 6 to 2, 6 to 2:30, something along those lines. And I love the schedule for me, right? Aside from having to get up at 5 a.m, I love the schedule. So the schedule was pretty gravy, right? You're in and out, 2:30 you're out, and whatnot. The only bad part of the schedule for me again was having to get up at 5 a.m, to get across town. Actually, I had to get up earlier than that because the store was about 45 minutes away from where I was living at the time. But I would get in, and I had great routines, right? I would come in, I would grab a coffee real quick. I would walk the store, which is, for those of you who've ever been in retail, walking the store is huge in retail leadership. I'd come in, I'd walk the store. I'd identify any areas of opportunity that I thought needed to be addressed right away, and I would get that information right away to the appropriate people to correct before they either left or when they got in, to make sure those things were getting addressed. And then I would grab a quick bite to eat from the deli or the bakery and I would go into the office and begin the morning paperwork. And so before even 7:30, 8 o'clock, I've already taken care of a bulk of what the leadership responsibility was during the early part of the morning, and it's already done. Again, it was a good routine. It was an effective routine. It made me ready for whatever the day could have been brought. And the most important thing is then, so the other piece of it is, so by the time that the person that was training us was in and ready to dive into our information for the day, I'd already done something to kind of set him up for the day, so he's not having to worry about walking the store and addressing opportunities. So I'm able to show him what I'd done and showcase how productive I was before he even got there. And then we were able to dive into deeper level trainings, right? Well, my partner, again, her routine was a little different. It was kind of all over the place. And she would be there super late. Like, I'm telling you, if it was 6 to 2:30 or 6 to 3, at 3 o'clock, I was out the door. I was on my way home. I was never at home later than 4 o'clock. I remember that vividly. I remember I was in my mid 20s. So man, I was ready for somebody's happy hour at 4 o'clock. And then the next day I would get in and, I'd be talking to her. Hey, how'd it go yesterday? And oh man, I was there until like 7 PM and And I'm like, 7 PM? What were you doing? And, she was there all that time and still would fall behind in the actual program. And so it made me process this thought. And it's something that I've always shared with people, is that it's not the hours that you put in, it's what you put into the hours. If you spend 13 hours unproductively, you're just going to spend 13 hours of your life that you're never going to get back unproductively, didn't accomplish what you needed to accomplish for the day, and are actually behind. And then somebody who has come in, taken care of business, is ate and skate. Ate and skate was the thing. And still be kind of, and be ahead of the game. But again, I was putting the right thing into the hours. Again, I had been doing a little more of that, so I did have a little more of a head start on those things than she did. But I was also there to be a peer to kind of help her do that, and I would always share everything I knew. I would always share with her. Like, I'd be like, hey, this is how I do things. Boom. And some people are always going to want to do their own thing. You gotta just let them do their own thing. But I felt like it would be a disservice to my partner because, hey, I want her to be able to get home at a decent time too, because it's no fun waking up at 4 a.m. and then still being at work at 7 p.m. at night, especially if you're still behind. So again, it's not the hours you put in, it's what you put in the hours. So you come in, you have a good routine, you knock things out, you handle your business. You come in, you handle your business. And that's the most important thing. Whatever that routine is, you got to knock it out and you got to move on to the next thing. You can't lollygag, you can't skip a step, you can't come. No, this is the routine you created for a reason. There's a reason why. Like I said with my morning routine, if I hit that gym, I know that it's going to make me more productive. So I can't look at going to the gym as something that's getting in the way and skip it. Oh, well, if I spend an hour at the gym, I could have been doing something else. Well, no, this hour I spent at the gym is going to help me power through the day a lot more effectively and help me be a little more productive at the rest of my day. So that piece I need to protect, right? So again, two things that the big takeaways I want you to get from what we're talking about today is it's not the hours that you put in, it's what you put into the hours. Maximize what you're doing in the smallest amount of time. because time can either be a huge win for us, or time can get in our way and we can lose track of time, and then we can get ourselves in a whole lot of trouble. So ensure that you are maximizing the productivity. If you find yourself in a situation where time is not your friend, you need to revisit that routine and see how is it you can be more productive. Reach out to somebody who can maybe give you insight on how to be more productive at that. The other thing is, routines protect your productivity. If you want to protect your productivity, you got to have effective routines. That's all for this week's episode on productivity. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're inspired. I'm assuming if you made it to the Patreon, you're probably following me on Instagram already. But if not, follow me at JarvisSam_ on Instagram. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a subscriber. I appreciate it. Pass along the word. If you found this valuable, please share it. Please share this link and tell people why they should subscribe to this Patreon. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Y'all have a great week.